Thank you so much for attending my PowerPoint presentation on Nightstalker, Dota's angsty teenager. Nightstalker is a melee strength offlaner whose most iconic feature is turning your support duo into a pile of dust. His best tool for doing this is his ultimate, Dark Ascension, which gives him flying movement and a ton of bonus damage. While those are useful in isolation, the best part of his ultimate is that it automatically changes the time of day into night. This interacts with a bunch of other parts of Nightstalker's kit, effectively buffing all of his spells while also interacting with his innate. The most obvious synergy is with Hunter in the Night, which gives him a ton of attack speed and movement speed, which all goes away during the daytime. His other spells actually do something when the sun is up, and the first one is Void. During the day, it's nothing more than a simple magical nuke fit for only the likes of securing range creeps, but at night it is a 4-second long 50% slow that also mini stuns. It's a basic utility tool, but it gets a lot of work done during the laning phase, and it becomes your primary way of breaking TPs later on in the game. Crippling Fear is his other basic active ability, and it is absolutely insane. This ability creates a persistent AoE around Nightstalker that deals a small amount of damage over time and silences anyone inside of it. Because it's a persistent silence, similar to Ricky Cloud, the usual answers like Manta Style and Satanic do not apply when dealing with Crippling Fear. This spell is the reason why so many supports have to be terrified of a Nightstalker, and it also does a ton of work against cores that have to use abilities as defensives. If you're doing your job well enough, heroes like Puck and Juggernaut will have to buy a BKB of shame just to deal with this one ability. As for your facets, Night Rain is currently the more popular choice as it begins the game at nighttime and extends the nighttime duration for 15 seconds. Voidbringer is a very interesting alternative though that turns Void into a ground-targeted AoE ability that can affect multiple heroes at once. All of these things combined turn Nightstalker into the ideal hero to disrupt an enemy backline, and if played properly, can effectively become a second carry in his own right due to the sheer quantity of bonus damage and attack speed he gets at night. He's incredibly fun to play, and if you happen to hate support heroes, he's definitely the offlaner for you. As for his lore, Nightstalker is the final remaining member of some kind of mysterious race of night people that Valve refuses to elaborate upon. All we know is that he has a lot of beef with Coddle, so throw him in there with the rest of the female members of Dota 2's cast. Now Nightstalker, true to his name, is highly tied with Dota 2's day and night system. During the daytime, this hero is honestly complete garbage, and is outclassed by pretty much any other offlaner doing pretty much any other thing. But at nighttime, his passive activates and all of his abilities get buffs, making him an insane backline disruptor and allowing him to man-fight pretty much any hero in the game. Now there aren't a whole lot of heroes that have special conditions for the day and night cycle, and those that do usually just have their vision affected. Nightstalker, for example, actually has his vision range flipped. During the day, it's only 800, and at night, it goes up to 1800. The heroes that do care about it really only do so in a minor incidental way, but for Nightstalker, it really is the single most important thing that dictates the tempo of his game plan. He really cares if it's day or night. If daytime is coming, you have to use the final bit of your bonus movement speed to find somewhere safe to farm and pray that the enemy team forgets that you exist. On the flip side, if nighttime is coming, you have to conserve your mana and get ready to bust out when the moon finally rises. In a weird way, the day-night cycle and Nightstalker's intense connection to it kind of makes him play himself. If it's daytime and your ultimate is on cooldown, you kind of just have to lay low and do whatever you can with the limited abilities that you have. And then at nighttime, you're encouraged to go balls to the wall, doing everything you can to turn the enemy support duo's life into a living nightmare. Dark Ascension makes it a little bit more interesting, but it's a strange thing to do to have to track your own cooldown so closely playing a hero as boneheaded as this. The result is a hero that you pick when you absolutely don't feel like thinking at all, and then you have to watch the clock like a hawk and plan your macro moves incredibly far in advance in order to take full advantage of your kit. It's a bit of a strange skill that's exclusive entirely to him, but considering that your highest pursuit as Nightstalker is smacking the shit out of some poor guy just trying to get his roll queue tokens, I'm sure you can devote the remaining 97% of your brain cells to occasionally checking the match timer. Now when it comes to pushing the tush of some poor carry player forced to play Grimstroke against his will, you can't ask for a better hero than Nightstalker. Now if the enemy team had the chutzpah to pick some kind of squishy support heroes, think Grimstroke, Crystal Maiden, heroes like that, your new job is to make sure those guys never get to have fun. Thanks to the flying movement from your ultimate, you are amazing at sneaking into the backline of an enemy team and just ripping them up to shreds before they get their high impact ultimates off. The bonus damage from your ultimate is such that with just 1 or 2 items and all of your spells off cooldown, you can kill pretty much any support in the game and there's not much they can do about it. You have the slow from Void, the slow from Echo Saber, there's no chance of them getting away from you if they didn't stack defensive items, and even if you do, you have answers for that as well. From their perspective, you really are the boogeyman hiding in the forest waiting to get them whenever they step slightly out of line. And your natural tank means that even if their team comes to defend them, they might just die anyway. Worst case scenario, the enemy team turns to defend their support, wastes all their spells on you, and you have now become your team's BKB. In other words, you are the perfect offlaner, and I will commend you after the match. Now, if all of this sounds appealing to you, or you're tired of reading posts on Reddit about support players asking for buffs, here's how to play Nightstalker. I'm assuming that you picked Night Rain, which means that you're going to be starting the lane with a bonus point in Hunter in the night and during nighttime. Ideally, you're paired up with a kill lane, someone who can hold them still for a little while you just wail on them using your bonus attack speed. Heroes like Shadow Shaman and Vengeful Spirit are the ideal lane partners, but really anyone will do. No matter who you're paired up with, the general idea remains the same. You'll be using Void intelligently and your insane right-click damage to secure and deny last hits. Then, when the opportunity arises, maybe the enemy position 5 foolishly decided to pull when you already had a massive wave, you're going to be diving tower at level 3. Your natural tank and movement speed will allow you to pursue the position 1 under tower and eventually grind them down with Void and your right clicks. A level 3 power spike is insane on pretty much any heroes, but because you get a bonus point in Hunter in the night, you are effectively 1 level higher than you should be for the entirety of the lane. The problem is that the party has a set expiration date, and as soon as the clock hits 5 minutes and 15 seconds, you'll have to calm down for a little while. There's going to be a period of time where you don't have your ultimate yet, all of your spells are nerfed, and all the points you put in your passive amount to nothing, so you're just going to have to chill out and be a baby back bitch for a little bit. The good news is that insane party time will begin once again as soon as you get your ultimate, which, if you time it right, will be just before the second nighttime. Use that and try to get another kill in the position 5 or the carry. Don't bother about saving it for some kind of crazy gank, you haven't even hit 10 minutes yet. Just use it to get a kill and be happy with it. Now going into the mid game, you're going to be doing the exact same thing you just did in 10-minute increments forever. When it's daytime and you don't have access to your ultimate, just try to find an empty lane that you can chill out in and hit lane creeps. You're not very good at farming, but you can use your Aghanim Shard to help you jungle, as it allows you to instantly kill a creep while also restoring your HP and mana. It also scales into the late game since you can use your flying movement from Dark Ascension to waddle over to a creep wave and scarf down a range creep, similar to the way a 4-year-old would stop halfway through a soccer game to scarf down Mandarin oranges and a Capri Sun. You can use the restored HP and mana to get right back into the fight and cast all your spells all over again. Now as for your items, you're going to be starting off with a bracer or 2 and a magic wand, followed by phase boots for even more movement speed. Echo Saber is an excellent choice after that because of how it builds into Harpoon, making the most of your AoE silence, and then it's either Blink Dagger or BKB depending on what you need. No matter which one you get, you'll get the other one right after. Now once the late game rolls around, your game plan is going to be hopping on high priority supports and trying to kill them before they get any of their high impact spells off. Now since your job is hopping on supports and killing them, you'll eventually have to start dealing with their defensive options. If they go for Force Staff, which they absolutely should, you're going to need a Harpoon to counter it. Glimmer Cape, just go ahead and keep a slot open for Dust. It's really hard for this hero to go Nullifier, but you can go it if you're snowballing, and it effectively cuts through almost every defensive option they have. You'll know you're doing your job well if the Dazzle stops showing up to fights entirely, and instead decides to spam Shadow Wave to push waves across the map. I wrote a little bit here about the day-night cycle in Dota. Feel free to read it if you like. Fire in the hole! Now if you happen to be one of those support players complaining on our Dota 2, here's how to beat Nightstalker. First, stacking defensives is an excellent option, but there is one that reigns above the rest. There are many support heroes who have some kind of spell that they can use to defend themselves. Think Inkswell on Grimstroke or Shadow Realm on Dark Willow. It's easy for Nightstalker to get back on you after you use it, but the time that you will spend outside of his silence is enough to use any of the defensive spells that you have access to. Not only that, but if he decides to go on someone else on your team, you can use Force Staff to help them out. This item is probably the single most reasonable counter to Nightstalker, even if it means spending more than 900 gold on a recipe in the early game. Now Nightstalker's second biggest weakness is that he can only really deal damage to one target at a time. He does have the facet that turns Void into an AoE spell, but no one goes that, and even if they do, they probably think that it still limits the vision of people hit by the ability. Consequentially, any Zoo or Illusion hero can usually man up pretty well against a Nightstalker. Beastmaster and Terrorblade are excellent options, but my favorite is actually Phantom Lancer. He can pop his W and you can just continue to smack him as if nothing is happening at all. Lastly, just try to keep track of cooldowns, note whenever night is happening, try to keep a rough idea of whenever he has his ultimate available, things like that. He's going to be using his ultimate whenever it's available and trying to get kills during the daytime with it, so just try to keep your support spread out and roughly guess when he's going to come and try to mess you up. His ultimate also loudly announces to everyone on the map whenever it goes off, and you can use that as the signal to delta split. Finally, and this is perhaps the funniest answer of all, is to just pick heroes that don't give a shit. If you're a Marcy and you have your ultimate active and the Nightstalker blinks on you, congratulations, he has now closed the gap himself and you can just wail on him with your basher. Bloodseeker is also quite funny, since if he initiates on literally anybody else, you can rupture him, forcing him to stay still and not take advantage of that juicy flying movement. Finally, and this is something that many novice Nightstalker players often fall prey to, if he ever opens up with his Q, just TP away. He has no natural way to deal with it if Void is on cooldown, and you get to make eye contact with him as he slowly realizes he just wasted 2/3 of his mana pool. In conclusion, Nightstalker is a punctual hero, and you should absolutely play him. Many Dota 2 players already fear natural sunlight, making him a natural addition to their hero pools. Peace on planet Earth.